Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I figured it was time for another Let's Ride video. Today I want to have just a very open discussion. I'm dealing with some struggles that I'm not necessarily able to conquer on my own. I apologize that it's raining, so you're going to hear my windshield wipers, and I'm not going to be watching the camera because I need to be focused. I've got a lot of comments about like, how is your keto going? And the other one was, is there a reason you're not talking about it? I will tell you first and foremost that my keto right now is a real struggle. The struggle for me is that I'm freaking hungry, like, all the time. I'm not to the point yet that my diet, or that my appetite has been suppressed at all. So, my body is consistently telling me that I haven't eaten today. Even though I know that I have. And there have been a few days that were almost like binges from the moment I woke up. And there is something that I'm struggling with that I'm going to talk about why I think I'm struggling with this now more than I have in the past. Because I can remember doing keto in the past, and within like the first week or so, week to 2 weeks, my appetite was just like chill. And that's not the case right now at all. I'm struggling to stay on it, and I think that a lot of people do struggle, and what's causing me to struggle right now is, it's a number of things, but the big one for me is like, I went to the grocery store yesterday. Let me just start there. I went to the grocery store, which my daughter goes with me everywhere. Okay, I've said this before. My daughter goes with me. Her and I are together all the time. She's fully supportive of my diet and our food habit changes as well. No concerns there. She is super, super supportive. She's a great kid. If you have been watching national headlines, you will know that there's a young lady named Anaya Blanchard who is currently missing from the Auburn, Alabama area, which is where I live. So she went missing on October 23rd, and I'm going to get to my point in a minute. And I'm not monetizing this video because I don't ever want to make a penny off something that's going on in someone else's life, okay? But I do feel like I need to give a reason as to why this is happening, like why I'm struggling. Alright, so the story is out right now. 2 weeks ago or so, the Camille Cupcake story from Birmingham, which is about an hour and a half away from me. There's another young lady from a university in Atlanta that's missing. There's a Taiwanese student from Auburn that is missing. Like, there's a lot going on right now in our area. It's also come to light, there's been several articles written about the area that I live in is near Interstate 85, and about how that is such a huge sex trafficking resource, that people are trafficked up and down 85 every single day. Just last week, I think, they found a van parked in Opelika, Alabama, and there was a video done about it, and in this van, it was literally like a work van, like you would see anywhere, but the windows were completely, like, when you looked in, you couldn't see anything. It was like metal on the inside, and there were claw marks on the metal, and they had arrested someone for sex trafficking. There were 14 people right across the Georgia state line that were arrested last week in a sex trafficking sting. There were 29, I think, in Atlanta arrested in sex trafficking. There have been numerous reports, and yes, I know a lot of reports are
Not true reports. They have been debunked by Snopes.com, and I'm not relying on those. But in Montgomery, Alabama, which is 30 minutes away from me, there was a woman and her teenage daughter who went into Walmart. They were parked like the 5th or 6th car back, like in the row. And as they went into the store, they went shopping, came back out, and she said they were in there for a while. And all 4 of her tires were slashed. Someone told her to go back in the store. She said there was like an elderly person in the car, and they said, go back in the store and, handle your phone call. She did, and the guy came back in after her, and he's like, we saw the guy who did this. And then he hid between 2 cars, and he was like, I've been on the phone with the cops the whole time. They're already on their way. They think that this guy was trying to grab her and or her daughter, who is 14 years old. So last night, my daughter and I went to the grocery store. It was our day to go. I was literally down to nothing. And I was so transfixed and focused on my, what was going on around me, that I couldn't even focus on what I was there to do. I ended up having a full panic attack to where I had to call someone to help me calm down because I couldn't deal. And I felt insane. I felt crazy. But it was truly, every single person that I saw, I was like, okay, what are they doing? And then there was a guy standing in the menswear section, and I think that he was actually with loss prevention, but I was just focused on him because I saw him multiple times through the store. And I made my daughter stay right with me, and she was like, can I go to the bathroom? I said, not by yourself, not anymore. But I was so focused on trying to make sure that I was watching what was going on around us that I couldn't focus. And what should have been about $100 Walmart shopping, grocery, whatever haul ended up being, I bought a sweatshirt, I bought a pack of Fig Newtons because Mary wanted them, I bought a pork loin, and I bought a box of macaroni and cheese. And it was a struggle to know that I bought those things. And we just kept walking around the store, and I was so out of it, I couldn't even think of the items I needed to put together full meals. And does anybody else feel like that right now? Am I crazy? I will be talking to my therapist about this, because this is obviously something I have to overcome, because I have to be able to function out in regular society. And maybe this is going to be a one-time thing. But every single time I hear the news and they're talking about the Anaya Blanchard update, I just get sick to my stomach, and I immediately grab my phone. I'm like, okay, where's my daughter? And here she is getting ready to go to college, knows where she wants to go, and it's 8 hours drive from me, and I'm already panicked about it. She's got 2 more years of school. I've been in constant prayer for Anaya Blanchard's family, and I cannot even imagine what they are going through. And they posted a picture of a guy that is wanted for questioning. Like they want to talk to him. I don't know his real name. I know his nickname on Facebook is like Broski, but that's not uncommon. Where I live, a lot of people don't use a real name on Facebook. But I just, I sit here and I think, this girl was just going to school. Like, she's the kid from Taiwan that was here to go to school is just gone. There's a woman and her son from Wetumpka, Alabama, that have been missing for like 2 years, and no one's ever seen a hide or hair of them again. Like, how do you just disappear? What are those families going through? I cannot imagine. And that very thing is what sends me over into this super deep, super dark place that I am struggling to get out of. To the point, like, I couldn't, even when I got home last night, I ended up binging last night, and it was completely emotional, and I just couldn't control myself, and I really was not cognitive of what I was even doing until I was halfway through. A binge for me at this point was I went to Burger King and got fries and a drink and cheesy tots. And in my brain, I was just like on autopilot, and I was completely out of it until about halfway through the burger. And then I got so upset with myself for what I was doing that I couldn't stop. At that point, it was just crying and eating. And it's so upsetting to be in that mindset. And it scares me. Like, I'm on my way to school to pick up kids now, and I call her a bonus child. Her parents both work together, and they work a really weird, like, midnight shift, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Or actually, I think this weekend is Thursday, Friday. But they don't get off until like 6 o'clock in the morning. And she's a student that a bus doesn't go to her house, so she has to be driven to school. And then they have football games, and she's going to do some this historical ball with us this weekend. So I was just in this mindset or what I'm thinking right now. Let me go back to that. I have two teenagers this weekend, 2 girls. I worry my head off. My sister has 4 kids. Between us, there's 8. Let's see. 4. Between us, we have 7 kids. And I have an older brother who has 5 kids. Younger brother who has 2 kids. Like, I can't imagine what would happen to any of those children. I'm not close with my brothers. I do speak to one. I don't speak to my younger brother. But even still, I can't imagine if something were to happen to his kids. I can't imagine. I'm that person, like, I can't imagine ever not talking to my kid every day. My kids are my life. And things like that just send me, like, the idea of it, the thought of it. Something happens. My daughter desperately wants to go to Japan. I don't do internet. I don't do flights. I cannot. No. So, we want to send my husband and my daughter to Japan. And I'm thinking, how do I deal with not seeing her or talking to her every day? And I know that through the years, like, parents have always struggled with this, but I'm beyond struggling right now. I'm at a point of, like, panic attack when I have to deal with that, like, when I have to process that. And I'm not necessarily dealing with it very well. Like, I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling right now with that whole idea more than I probably ever have struggled with anything mentally, because it's affecting me in every other way.
Like, I've struggled with things before, like losing family members. You know, I am divorced, and I had a really rough time when my first marriage ended. But even yet and still, that grief or that pain never went over and transitioned into other parts of my life, if that makes sense. However, this panic that comes up in me is consuming. And this lasted, I was up most of the night with this. Just trying to buy groceries. Scares the ever-loving snot out of me. You know, how do you go on vacation and let your kids do anything without you? How do you let your kids go to prom? How do you let your kids go out with friends on a Friday night? Parents who have kids that are driving, how do you deal with them not being with you? How do you, knowing what's going on in the world today, how do you deal with that? Because I'm not dealing well with it, and I can admit that. I'm not dealing well with it at all. Maybe mine's an isolated case because of what's going on around us. Parenting's hard, guys. I'm not going to edit this. This is just going to be, I guess, a rant video about panic attacks and binge eating and missing children. Scares the ever-loving crap out of me. If you watch this video, please send prayers for the Blanchard family. I can't imagine what they're going through. This is the young lady that her stepdad is a, what are those fighters called that fight with their hands? He's a fighter. And so there's like a $105,000 reward for her return. It's been 2 weeks yesterday since she went missing. So pray for them. Pray for that family. I can't imagine what they're going through. I can't imagine what that young girl went through or is going through right now. If by the grace of God she's alive. Remember, guys, your life is worth losing weight. Remember that you are worth losing weight. And number 3, know that you are today and always forever loved. Bye, guys.